Gen Z, how do you think that generation has actually impacted beauty culture as a whole?
They haven't.
They have not?
No. I think everything is just a cycle and it repeats itself. So for a 20-year-old to walk outside with a skinny brow, Naomi Campbell also did it.
I agree, but I do think that this generation, there feels like there's more artistic license and creative freedom around beauty than I haven't seen. And even though Gen Z didn't invent skinny brows or didn't invent bleach brows, they're the ones who were going on a limb and doing it. Millennials didn't do that when they were Gen Z age.
Welcome to the Black Beauty Club. This is the space where we talk about beauty culture as it relates to Black people. My name is Tomi.
I'm Asmeret.
And today we're excited to talk with our friends here about Gen Z and Black beauty. What is the obsession with what Gen Z themselves decides to do?
I feel like it has a lot to do with the fact that we're living on social. Gen Z is always on TikTok. We're documenting like what we are doing. So we're living through social media and people are witnessing the things that we're doing, and there's a fascination with the younger generation.
And there's always been an obsession in our country with youth culture, what the youth think is cool, what they want. I think even the whole older generation being bitter about it is also part of the machine in some way.
How do you think that generation has actually impacted beauty culture as a whole?
They haven't.
They have not?
No. I think everything is just a cycle and it repeats itself. So for a 20-year-old to walk outside with a skinny brow, Naomi Campbell also did it. Culturally, we do this thing where there's a resurgence. We say that the generation that's focusing on it right now is the first to do so. Every generation was bold and brave in its own right.
I agree, but I do think that this generation, there feels like there's more artistic license and creative freedom around beauty than I haven't seen. And even though Gen Z didn't invent skinny brows or didn't invent bleach brows, they're the ones who were going on a limb and doing it. Millennials didn't do that when they were Gen Z age.
I think Gen Z is coming into the space where they can start influencing beauty, but I think millennials really controlled culture for a very long time because we were the internet's first cohort. Kylie Jenner, she's a Gen Z, I think, but her entire aesthetic and business was focused on presenting millennial beauty aesthetics. And I think that's why she's probably not doing so hot right now. I think they just didn't have space on the internet up until pandemic TikTok era to be the most seen. I feel like Gen Z was being influenced by what millennials wore and did.
I had Tumblr growing up. That was my archive of imagery and cultural references. But I feel like TikTok is that for a lot of people because you're able to share your interests in really interesting ways. It's more easily accessible, so why not lean into these different chords that you're discovering? Millennials can be a little bit upset because there isn't that dedication to surfacing the history or the root of the core that you're leaning into. But I don't think it's that bad to just play around with how you look. We all just pay homage in different ways.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. This current moment in time feels like a mood board for every generation before. It doesn't feel original, it doesn't feel new. It just feels like we get to see a moment in time that we didn't really exist in. Before it's okay, if everyone's not doing this, then maybe I shouldn't. Right now it's if she can do it that way, I can do it this way.
Yeah, I feel like there's fearlessness. That's what I see online. I see people trying things out. Sometimes they fail. They just switch to the next thing.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget
They're
too.
whatever.
Yeah.
I tried it. I think there's this sense of levity with these trends. I think sometimes we get the sense of everyone's doing the same thing, whereas I think everyone's trying maybe similar things but then landing in different places with it. At least that's how I'm consuming.
I know, it's very interesting that you talk about individuality because I feel I don't see a lot of individuality. All I see is new chorus coming up and a bunch of people going in that direction. It's oh, I am a clean girl aesthetic, and I am a shabby chic aesthetic, and
cottage core.
You have the bleach brows, right? I've seen people have been doing it for.
You should look straight at the camera.
for some. That's funny. I've seen a couple have been doing it for maybe 3 or 4 years now. This year is going to be the year of it, and now you're going to see every single person. How are you going to feel about that?
Yeah, and I've had it for 4 years. And when I first did it, my friend called me a beef patty.
Oh,
and I was he thought he was being funny. And
what does that mean?
Exactly. He was why is your eyebrows so light and your skin so dark? And I was that is a weird question to ask me as a Black queer woman walking in the space with a bunch of men. And then I was like, you thought that was funny. To this day, his girlfriend's pulling up in the spot with bleached brows. What you calling her, pretty? Because you called me a big patty. Is she beautiful to you now? This is beautiful. When I walked in, you had, yeah, I'm like, you had
like a Jamaican beef patty.
yeah, he was trying to make like a joke.
I also just think that like the internet is making us even more tribal. So for me, it makes sense that people would attach themselves to a core. Because especially if you're in some freaking small town, I always use Arkansas as an example. I'm sorry. Some small town, I don't know. I just feel like Arkansas is just like, where is it? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Like some small town in Arkansas where you don't connect with anyone. You can find a tribe on the internet. You can find a core, an aesthetic, a way of thinking, alternative groups online that people who were living anywhere could try to find a way to attach to. So I just think now there's just way more options. It's a buffet.
All of you, like, where do you get your beauty inspiration from?
I feel like as an editor, you're around like influencers, makeup artists a lot of times. So for me, I go to them, like Danessa Myricks, Jaleesa Jaikaran, like seeing them create with beauty and makeup, that's what inspires me.
Like there are brands that I'm like, that's like me in a brand. I wear Ami Collet like every day. Love the founder, love the story. I'm Senegalese, gotta represent.
I'm like a moody person, so it changes a lot. It's like some days I feel very femme, some days I feel very masc. Like I have a friend, he's like 6'7", very masculine man. But his earrings are just so dainty and gentle. And I was like, I love that. I want to recreate that. My best friend, her eyelashes are always really curly and flirty. And I was like, you flirt with your eyes. I want to flirt with my eyes. So now I'm like obsessed with mascara.
I've always been obsessed with becoming a grown woman. Like just, I used to call it getting grown. Every time anything happened, I'm like, we are grown.
I love that.
Yeah, because in my culture, like you're not really respected or seen or heard until you are married and you are a grown woman. There's a part of me now that is fulfilling that inner child in me.
When I look at kind of the space a little bit more holistically, I don't think that it's always clear to the majority where some of these things come from. So I think the conversation we were having earlier about paying homage to the right, like to elders in a way, is something that within the beauty space, there isn't always a clear through line of where did that trend start and who's really benefiting from it now?
I can see that. I mean, for me, I think hair is definitely where we always are able to like own for sure. The makeup piece that I always find that it's hard to see like where the lines are blurred. I don't know where it goes from, honestly, like cultural appreciation to cultural appropriation.
There was a hard time for me sitting down in space with white European women just speaking of the access that they had to get fillers to have bigger lips. Where me as a person, I would sometimes talk like this. In school, just so someone didn't make a comment on anything.
I feel like especially the lip thing, it took me so long to like let it go with the girlies. It would fill me with actual anger because I was like, I remember being like 12, 13 and just praying to like get to 18 to when I could get this like lip reduction surgery. That used to be a goal. That used to be a goal. You know, I'm sure many of us have experienced that. There's a lot that comes, like a lot of sexualization when you're young that comes with the way our bodies are naturally, that now people, as you said, are just paying to look that way. And I think that is a very hard thing to kind of accept.
Yeah, and I think that's where it gets tricky with the trends because after a while, someone comes out with a lip liner and then wants to own the look, and it's like oh wait, honey,
lips.
You didn't make that.
I have a question about that. I've been trying to figure out, like when we talk about like homage or recognition, what exactly are we looking for? Was she supposed to say, I'm doing this brown lip look and black people did it? And like if she would have just acknowledged it, would that have sufficed?
For example, like, oh, I'm doing this brown lipstick because I was inspired by Foxy Brown, or I know like, you know, this has been like really prevalent in like, you know, 90s hip hop culture. Something like that. That's how you give reference to whatever, because you definitely, you know, and especially, it was Hailey Bieber, wasn't it?
It was,
right?
yeah.
And do you feel like that would have been enough?
I think that would have been enough. I mean, for me, I don't know, for you guys, what do you guys
also
think?
the missing piece there too is like, because people are so obsessed with Hailey Bieber reporting on everything she does, her nails, her lips, it's like when you're reporting on it, a lot of publications don't give credit to the culture. So they're just like, Hailey Bieber wore this, yeah, she did this with her lips, but they're not like giving credit in the content too. So
where did Hailey Bieber get it from? Like, was it her makeup? She was sitting in a makeup chair. Her makeup artist put a brown lip liner on her. She thought it was cute. She kept doing it, and then she shares it. And then we want her to like acknowledge where she got it from, but her point of reference is the makeup artist who did it.
Yeah, I'm not saying
who knows
I
makeup.
know
I'm
Hailey
just
Bieber.
saying like
listen,
yeah.
I'm not saying that I know Hailey Bieber personally, but I would like to believe that because Hailey Bieber specifically is married to, what's that guy's name again? Justin Bieber? And Justin Bieber
Loves Black culture.
loves Black culture. I think he's doing a lot of work to try to let people know that he is not trying to benefit off Black culture, and he's trying to do the work of making sure that he's seen and he's seen other people in this industry. And I think by them being together, by lying together, and also she did a lot of work when she was launching Rhode. She launched Rhode with a Black
with
chemist.
Ron Robinson,
Exactly.
yeah.
So like, I think that she is to an extent aware of certain things. I may be wrong, but I think that she is aware of certain things and she can educate herself and she knows where some of these things come from. I think so. I might be wrong.
To what you were saying though, I do get that question of like, is that enough?
Is
I
that
think
really
is that enough?
what's gonna be enough if she just acknowledges
That's
that?
just
I
an
don't know.
individual. She does have cultural power though.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
Like in general, we
But
always want
exactly.
credit, and I'm
It
just
is
like, what is that?
I don't
doing
think
for
it
us,
should
that
be the
credit?
individuals.
It does something though. It does because you acknowledge it because there's a lot of people that do not know, and they just follow her. So for them, she's like, oh,
That's the center of their beauty world.
that's
Like,
it. Whereas she's getting from. So I do think it matters because she's also educating others that are not aware of it.
As a marketer, though, isn't it a larger shift that we're probably looking for too? Like, just working on campaigns day to day, the majority is still white. The same look is still carbon copied and used in campaigns, in creator casting, in 60-second videos to TV cut downs. The individual can help impact that and change that for sure, but I think we need to see more of a cultural shift with the culture that you're using as your mood board being in front of your cameras more.
I will say though, Gen Z does do a really good job of making sure those references are noted. Quickly.
creators.
They'll be in the
Yeah.
comments like,
Yes.
oh, you got this
Videos
from someone
And you
else.
get historical
They'll tag
videos.
them.
And then I'm
You
sitting
get
there.
the timeline. I'm just like, where did you get this photo?
Right, I'm sitting there, I'm learning all of this now. They've taken it past the 90s. They went into the 60s
Yeah.
and pulled it all the way to the 20s and gave us all the history. So Gen Z does do a good
do
job
work.
of like swiftly course correcting everyone.
One thing they will do is bring the receipts immediately. I feel like Gen Z has like a real unapologeticness around them. I feel like I'm coming to terms with how I look and like accepting how I am now. Whereas y'all are on social media, no makeup, hair not done, hair half done, taking out your hair, talking to the camera.
Dirty.
You know? Like dirt, like, you know?
Dirty
Don't care. Yeah, dirty plates in the background, like totally cool. And I do wonder.
Cool.
I think it's great.
I'm African.
I think exactly. I mean, that's a part of it too. But that kind of like radical acceptance, I think, is really special.
Yeah, of like doing something because you know you're being perceived. That's completely different than just doing it like when I put on my makeup and I'm in front of my camera. That's a completely different experience than if I'm just in front of my mirror. No matter how much I like try to make it seem like it's not.
I've been trying to do this thing where I post more online, try and be more social on my social, but like the thought of people watching the content that I'm in my bedroom, like putting on lipstick or whatever, you think about what other people are thinking about when they're consuming your content. So it's as much as you want to show up unapologetic, you're authentic, and I'm putting my real self out there, it's still kind of curated in a sense.
As a millennial, I think when I look at Gen Z and the fearlessness, I think it's like twofold. One, millennials did do a lot of work. I think all of the discourse and Twitter beefs and arguments and think pieces and everything that millennials were doing, I feel like Gen Z was also right next to us consuming and reading and absorbing. So you just have more language to support yourself, to process your emotions there and like show up how you want to. I also think Gen Z is very aware of the audience at all times. So I feel like the fearlessness is, I don't know what the right word is, because you kind of have to fight that the idea of the audience in your head all the time. I can't, like, so when I see a Gen Z person being bold and being out there, I'm like, you're pushing through a lot. Because yes, you have all the language to process all this, but that could be paralyzing. And then also you have the incredible self-awareness that at any moment you could be photographed. Even if you're not a creator, you could just be walking down the street and you could end up in the back of somebody's video.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's wild. I was at an event
That's
for
so true.
a beauty brand the other day, and I was just standing there because when I was younger and I would go to industry events, it was like all industry teams, like creative directors and celebrity. And at this event, it was like a sea of creators, like to the point where the bar was so small because so many people were under 21. watching these creators just like know how to exist with the camera in their face. Like know when to snap a shot.
At all times.
Yeah, know like the perfect pose. Know how to talk, but still allow people to watch. Know how to answer every question. Cher walked in the room, and I feel like the creators are still more hyper focused on themselves. And I'm like, Cher is like, yeah. But it's interesting though, because as much as they're super authentic and super real, it's also a generation that grew up with the camera on their face all the time.
Right. Often feel like that kind of fear of posting is like a millennial manufacturing.
Gen Z's not losing their jobs for bad tweets.
Gen Z
Yeah,
is
they're
like,
starting to. If you post something crazy on TikTok, or even just posting the office.
That fearlessness. Like there isn't this kind of fear of consequence or responsibility. Your responsibility is really just to yourself. So they don't think about what could happen next after you press post, or like that's my impression. But I do wonder if that fear of posting has diminished for like that generation and beyond, because we're just so used to having cameras in our faces and we're just so used to social media.
I think so, because I look at Gen Alpha and I look at children randomly in the supermarket, on the sidewalk, at the bus stop, in the train station, just dancing.
No, they don't
just
care.
dancing.
They don't
No
care.
fear.
Secondhand embarrassment for them.
I'm not. I admire it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm like, who are these people going to be that are just okay with standing in the middle of the platform on 34th Street?
Wiggling.
The kind of comfort that a Gen Z has about their appearance and how they show up is very different from someone who's much older. How are Black girls navigating the beauty world in general?
I think we noticed, like what you were mentioning earlier about the campaigns still not being diverse enough. And
What are you guys doing about it?
But I think that there's a lot of there is actually a lot of boycotting.
Why are you not protesting?
There is a lot of Tarte they just did that trip. People were upset about that trip.
Alex,
and
has things to say.
Yeah.
I just
worked in the industry. I'm nobody's girl.
okay, what do you think about this Tarte situation?
It's cool. I think it's brilliant. I feel like everything on the industry. I think it did its job.
Of course
It did its job. Everybody
Yeah.
was talking about Tarte.
We're all talking about it right now.
I look at a creator like Gloria. She tests, foundations from different brands, and these brands are silly enough to send her foundations that do not fit her skin tone. And then she's saying tone inclusivity is just like the bare minimum. And a lot of people in our generation, I think, want more than the bare minimum. It's very cute to be in this Fenty era where we have 50 shades of something, and you need to hit that mark, but you actually need to do more.
I mean, I feel like what resonates most is when community is at the center of it. Brands like Ami Colé and Topicals, I feel like do that so well, where it's like from launch, they've incorporated us into the storytelling, into the products, into just everything that they do. So I feel like community is really what we're looking for when it comes to the beauty brands that we shop with.
I like playfulness. I do feel like millennial brands are so boring. So boring. Like they want to be chic so hard that they've erased all personality. And it's like, where's the beating heart of the brand? Like, where can I connect here? So I think there can be a balance there. But I do say, I see a lot of Gen Z brands with like bright colors, block lettering, Y2K cloud typeface, like, it seems kind of repetitive.
Yes, they all got bubble.
It's very vibrant, but are we into that? Like,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I want Lux. I want Lux.
okay, but you're a millennial.
I want it.
I like
the
it.
maximalism.
Do you?
Stars on my face.
I do like a star face. I love star face.
Yes, love Starface.
They could, the cleanser is the best cleanser in the market. The Starface
They're
cleanser.
good. And I feel like that's a great example of like the balance where it's like a clean design. It's just like stars. It's not going to be. I mean, you can get different like colorways, but it's like a nice streamlined design, and it's like little. It's fun. I can put it on my face. It's yellow. You can see it. It's a conversational piece, but it's not like crazy neon. But crazy neon is in.
Well, what categories do you think are missing?
I feel like fragrance is one that's developing.
Good.
Mudo is one of my favorites. She's a personal friend, but I feel like in that category, I'm not hearing about a lot of Black fragrance founders from time to time. So I feel like that's one area I think we could be more represented in.
I will always buy a Black-owned color cosmetic product. I'm not always impressed with how it sits on my skin, and I think that's what keeps pushing me back to supporting like a Milk makeup, even putting money into like YSL. But if we could sit here and create longevity and like color cosmetics for all types of Black skin, I would love to invest in that.
Yeah.
I would love to see like heat hair tools.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the tools from the beauty supply store, like or like really professional grade. So I would love like the tools to also
Yeah,
be
and I
from
think
Black
we're
brands.
going in that direction because Pattern just launched their blow dryer. So we're seeing, I feel like it's happening slowly but surely.
I think I'm super biased because I'm a founder of a hair care company. But yeah, I think hair, there's a lot that we can do to move away from just the struggle story in hair. Like, we have new types of extensions, but do we have actual like choices within those different types of products? Not really. Like, I would love to see a mainstream brand hitting at those styling pieces, hitting at those tools, like in a really holistic way.
Yeah, and to your point, I think there can be so much more room around education as well. Like, to this day, I still don't know why I have to straighten my hair to get a trim when I never wear my hair straight day to day. But why do I have to straighten my hair when I trim it? I just think that there can be more education and also maybe some investment in some science behind like why our hair operates the ways that it does.
I would also love like beauty supply stores that were like a chain that was like owned by
A Black person.
Black person. Having worked for those companies, like, is not, the Black people are not there. We're the customers solely.
There's this 18-year-old, I think, she bought a beauty supply store
Yeah.
in Paris.
And even that, like, it's super hard. You get the storefront, but then you can't get the products,
Yeah.
the best products in your store because they.
Gatekeep.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a
And then
whole
it's sad because
conversation.
the one person who does it, you have so much expectations, and she does one thing wrong, and the internet's like, "No, cancel her." Why? We're not canceling her. She's the only one that exists.
They're trying to cancel her?
No, it happened.
No, but it's just like
And you're like, what?
Wait, what did she do?
She's like 16.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
like a
she's
baby.
but it'd be like what
It's
you're
like
saying.
it happens. It happens so
is-
often.
Yeah.
Where it's
how
like
it
this is the
happens.
one that exists, and you expect them to be the most
Be
perfect.
Yeah.
So there's all these cute shoppy shops and like really cute pantry goods stores that have like $300 sardines and stuff.
Yeah.
$300 sardines. I love sardines.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
sardines.
cute. It's like artisanal foods.
Yeah.
It could be so cute if there was like an artisanal like beauty supply store. Like you have like Rebundle in there
Oh, yeah.
and like random stuff like Adwa Beauty in there. That could be nice.
so amazing.
Yeah.
So
I think you guys
Should we
have
start it?
business.
Yeah, let's launch a new business.
Yeah, Black
Yes.
Beauty Club Shoppy Shop.
Where would we open it?
Right here.
I was gonna say I'm not going to DC. I'm sorry.
the final question, which would be, what is your favorite Black girl aesthetics core?
I just feel like it's problematic.
Oh, it's
Oh,
problematic.
I feel like we're in the same place.
Yes.
I like the soft life.
Yeah.
I like
I think we're aligned.
glam.
Lucky
Yeah.
girl
We are
syndrome.
aligned.
soft
Yeah.
life.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
same.
Yeah.
We started it.
But
Yeah.
I like the soft glam. I like the glam. I like the makeup. I like the.
The lifestyle.
I
like the
the
vibe.
vibe.
Yeah.
New York Black It Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love myself.
The new black girl. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it girl energy. It's kind of
The
my
New York
thing.
transplant.
It's really
The New York
inspiring to
transplant.
me.
You said
Well,
they're
what?
not from
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I know.
It's a different aesthetic.
Like the rich ones. I'm like, you're so
Yeah,
rich.
the rich Damn, should I get a Dior Columbus bag?
I love watching the girls that would have bullied me in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love watching that.
The way they be coming around, though. I'm like,
Yeah.
is that time you're trying to hang out with me now?
Yes. Like when they follow me, I'm like, I'm gonna take like
Oh.
4 minutes to follow you.
Love that for us.
All right. That was amazing, guys.
Love how we all clap for ourselves.
Down for